Which means every 1 out of 12 HDB transaction in 2025 is a 7-figure transaction.
You have greedy sellers and fearful buyers, and when these two meet, the prices don't just move up, they disconnect from logic entirely. If you're here for sales talk, this video is probably not for you, but if you want the honest truth behind what's really happening in the Singapore resale market, welcome back to another episode of Haikal Titus Honest Truth,
HTHT. This is where we cut the fluff, drop the bias, and share the real conversations buyers and sellers are having, right? Which is something that you rarely hear online. And today we are talking about something that is very uncomfortable, which is why resale buyers are overpaying in 2026 without them even realizing it.
Let's start with the environment we are living in right now. Open any property news portal, Mothership, HProp, 99Co. What do you see, Titus?
We see record price after record price.
Correct.
We see government land sales keep increasing. We see $1 million HDB in this town and in that town. Everywhere is about record price.
Scary. Everything is going upwards. Right? Developers paying higher and higher land price, right?
Yes.
Everywhere you look, the message is very, very clear. Prices are going up. And if you do not act now, you'll be left behind. And in this constant stream of headlines, right, there's something very powerful to human behavior.
Yes.
Like what it does, it creates fear. And fear doesn't make people stupid. Fear makes people rush.
Yeah, so fear makes a lot of buyers, right, FOMO, and then they kind of forgot about the logic and act a lot of their emotions. But as we speak, despite the top headlines saying prices are going up record after record, right, in 2025, HDB prices has muted, right, a growth of only 2.9% as compared to 2024, which is a 9.7%.
Very slow.
It seems like it's slowing down because government is suggesting that there will be more supply of BTO. But below this headline, right, there are more than 1,500 resale transactions in 2025, right, that has crossed the $1 million mark.
Sounds like a lot.
This is almost 8%, which means every 1 out of 12 HDB transactions in 2025 is a 7-figure transaction.
Wow.
So the thing with all this information is not only the buyers are reading these headlines. When buyers read this headline, they are scared.
Yep.
They are scared of being priced out. But the sellers are also reading these headlines.
Yes.
So what will happen when sellers read these headlines?
They also want to sell at a higher price. So this environment, right, actually creates two different reactions at the same time. First, seller gets greedy, right, because they will see, hey, my neighbor sold at a record price. Another unit in my project also broke the record high price. So for me, let's try to sell even higher.
Yep.
I want to be the record setter. Then on the other side, buyers who see this news, they get FOMO.
Yes.
They feel like if I don't make an offer, I will miss out on the unit they are like.
Yes.
Right? So the fear of missing out, basically, the fear of waiting, right, and the fear of being priced out, eventually they overpay.
Yeah.
Right? So now you have greedy sellers and fearful buyers, and when these two meet, the prices don't just move up, they disconnect from logic entirely.
That's why with these two equations of greedy sellers and fearful buyers, right, the prices just go crazy.
Correct.
Now, this is the dangerous part because buying a property is one of the biggest financial decisions that any one of us will ever make in Singapore. But yet, a lot of buyers we are seeing today, right, they are making this decision emotionally, right? And we want to really deep dive into what emotions can do to us as buyers in today's market. So number one, right, when we are seeing the chasing of record prices, right, time and time we see this again, just now as mentioned, headline news, record. What happens is every listing becomes higher and higher, right? And buyers will tell themselves that, wow, this is the new benchmark,
Yep.
right? The ceiling becomes the floor.
Yep.
Right, so if I don't buy now, the next one will be higher. So we have this example at Treasures at Tampines, and in the span of 10 months, we want to see the formula of greedy sellers and fearful buyers, what happened to prices. Okay, level 2 unit in September 2024 sold for 2.1 million.
Not bad.
Okay, not bad. But 4 months later in January, one level above, right, just a period of 4 months sold for 2.32 million. 4 months additional 220,000 for one floor. Okay, you might feel that, okay, never mind, renovation, all these things. But just 6 months later in July 2025, a level 9 unit, right, sold for 2.52 million. Another 200,000. So if we were to look at it, September 2024, 2.1 million. July 2025, 2.52 million. Within a span of just 10 months, The same size unit, the same stack, yes, 7th floor higher, but it's at a $420,000 more expensive.
That's a huge jump within a short time span of period. So imagine right now you are a seller selling a level 11 unit. What is the price you'll be looking at, Titus? What do you think?
2.7?
Most likely, right? Because the latest transacted was 2.52, right? And as a buyer, will this purchase offer a safe entry price for you, or will it be helping the seller onto his next upgrade?
Yeah, so 2.7 is going to be something that is really, really untested. But the level 11 unit probably will be just telling themselves that, okay, lor, you hit my 2.7, I sell. And when you are emotional, you will probably just offer the 2.7.
Correct.
And the seller would then take the money and then buy his next 5-bedroom or landed property.
Yes, slowly upgrade. So another common situation that buyers face is that they over prioritize lifestyle and family needs. So buyers will tell us what? Like, we're not investors, right? We just need a place to stay.
Yes.
Right? If we need a school nearby, maybe we want to be near our workplace or near a family. So this type of urgency will slowly creep in. Right? So when this urgency replaces a strategy, pricing becomes secondary for these buyers.
Yes.
And then these buyers end up stretching their budget quietly. Not because it's a good deal, but because it feels necessary and a bit more emotional.
So don't get us wrong. I think all these lifestyle needs are very, very important.
Yes.
You shouldn't neglect them. But the question is, what is the cost that you have to pay in order to achieve all your requirements? Which is why it's so important that our buyers, we make sure that they sit down and then they write out a list of priorities.
Yep.
The priorities, what are the non-negotiable? What are the negotiable?
Yes.
Because by going through this list, most of the buyers will be able to see, right, what exactly is a need and what is a want. In a perfect world scenario, of course, we want everything. But in the real world, we have to prioritize.
Yes.
So if let's say your must-have is this, we make sure we don't negotiate on those. But maybe is it necessary like 3 minutes to the MRT or probably 8 minutes to the MRT? Is it very important? If that extra 5 minutes is not so important, then can we negotiate on it? Because the extra 5 minutes could be a 200, 300,000 in terms of price.
Yes.
So these are things whereby we help our buyers see clearly what are the things that they must have versus what are the good to have.
So our job is basically to make them a bit more sensible and
Yes.
a bit less emotional throughout this whole process.
So the other thing that we observe is buyers always feel that they already negotiated.
Correct.
Right? Like what I mean by this, maybe I give an example, right? If imagine we go Thailand for holiday, you go to a street vendor, then you ask how much? The street vendor say 1,000 baht. Will we pay 1,000 baht?
No.
We won't. So we will
Negotiate.
haggle.
Yes.
And then end up we haggle, it becomes 800 baht. Then you might be walking away, right? Thinking that, hey, I won shiok because I saved 200 baht. Not as if the 200 baht matters a lot, but it's just that you feel that, wow,
Feel
I negotiated already. Then after you take the item. Then you carry on walking, buy your coconut water, buy your mango sticky rice. 2 streets down, you saw the same item. Then you itchy backside, you get asked, how much? Then the person started to quote you 800 baht.
Sad.
Then you'll be like, oh shit, I actually did not actually negotiate. But right now, of course, we are not talking about 800 baht, 600 baht.
Yes.
What we are talking about is 10 times, 100 times more, which is millions of dollars.
Huge amount. So because of the headline news and record-breaking prices, seller naturally will want to sell above the valuation, right? So basically that will be your starting price.
Yes.
You might negotiate hard and you can save maybe 200k from the asking price.
Yes.
But the hard truth is, even though you had negotiated 200k, you might still be overpaying. And overpaying will make you stuck in the resale market in the future. Because we do not know, maybe in the long run, you might need to sell the unit. And when that happens, you already overpaid when you bought your unit. So when you want to resell, you have to sell again at the extra high price. This is where you get stuck in the resale market.
So we have also done up a video of an example of overpaying. So if you have not watched it, we will put the link in the description below. Feel free to go and watch that video. So if you feel that the previous few scenarios that we are talking about sounds a bit like what you are going through and you want that clarity, you can scan our QR code. We will be happy to have a chat with you.
So now here's the part where most buyers do not realize, right? Even though the market feels like sellers have all the power, buyers are actually not at the mercy of the sellers.
Agree.
Right? Why? Because the power doesn't belong to the loudest listing. It belongs to the buyer who knows how to navigate this whole market basically.
Yes, because buyers actually you still are in control. We must understand that not every seller must sell, and you as a buyer, not necessarily you must buy as well. So a lot of times today, sellers are just testing the market and see whether they can get the high price. They are financially flexible, they actually have holding power, and of course, they have a little bit of emotions attached to the unit, right? So buyers in today's market actually still have power.
Correct.
Like what I mean by this, right, is we must know how to navigate the buying journey. So I give an example.
Okay.
Same development, same size. Unit A is vacant.
Yep.
Unit B is occupied by the current sellers. Which one would have an easier negotiation, Haikal?
The vacant one.
Definitely the vacant one, because the one that the sellers are staying in, right, they might be thinking, I can stay for a while and wait for the price to go up.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm in the unit, I'm not paying extra cost, right? It's fine, I can wait for 3 months, 6 months, wait for the right price.
Yep.
But the vacant unit, right, think of it of the emotions of the seller. So every month the unit is not sold, they incur extra costs. Interest, MCST, property tax, law, many other costs.
Expensive.
Right? Repair costs, maintenance costs. So if as a buyer, which unit, right, should you actually pay more attention to go and put your focus and negotiate, right? I think the answer is very clear lah.
Yes.
So how do we actually do all these things, right?
So with so much happening in the market, this is why we came up with a framework to help buyers navigate their buying process, right? So what we have are 2 examples of what our buyers have achieved using what we have shared with them. So you can see the transactions here are at $2 to $2.1 million range, right? However, what we have done is we managed to spot one unit and our buyers bought it at 1.8 million.
Exactly.
So this is something that we try to help using the framework. We basically help them save 200 to 300k. Right. Next is also something similar. So using the same framework, right, we also can replicate this for our HDB buyers. So in this particular case, we can see that HDB transactions were done at about 540k. However, our buyers managed to buy in at 460k. So this 80k that our buyers save, right, what they can do with it, basically can pay for renovation or even
2-3 years
of their mortgage payment basically, right? So it's a bit more stress-free for buyers out there.
So after going through all this, we don't mean that buyers right now in 2026 stop buying. But in fact, you can go ahead and buy, but then remove the emotions from buying and use logic and use data to help your buying process. Price is not the first thing that you should look at. The transaction history also doesn't tell you the full picture.
Correct.
Right? Safety is not whether you buy resale or new launch. Right? It's the price that you enter and how you enter. And there's a way that you can go around in today's market to buy without overpaying. But it requires patience, it requires clarity, and it requires us to reframe the way we think. So we just want to share one very simple tip for our viewers out there. So this is something really bonus. If you want more of such tips, right, do get in touch with us. But the main tip that we want to share today is, imagine you are looking at a development whereby there is only one seller. You want that unit. There is no competition in that development at all.
Low supply.
What are the chances that you will overpay? Will the seller be able to negotiate with you?
Most likely no.
Yeah. How about you go to another development where there's healthy competition,
Higher
right?
in supply.
A lot of sellers.
Correct.
Right? So all the sellers will be fighting for you as a buyer.
Correct.
So in this way, you do have more room for negotiation.
Correct. So to sum it up, basically, we need to understand the supply that's available in that particular condo. Right? So if they say there's more supply, you have a better chance of negotiating a better deal. So if you are looking for a resale property or planning to buy in 2026 and you're not sure whether the price you're seeing is fair or will you get emotional, have a conversation with us, right? Don't rush and don't be pressured and then be forced to make a wrong decision. Best is to understand where you stand because clarity alone can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So if this video have helped you, please do share with your family and friends and do like, share and subscribe. And this is Haikal Titus Honest Truth, HTHT. We see you in the next episode. Bye.